today.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Delighted to be here today.
Is this a dream?
No, it's not a dream. I'm an angel.
Why would God send me an angel?
Because God knows that everyone needs a little coaching now and then.
I'm loving angels. I saw an angel.
All angels sing from above.
Please send me an angel. A smile on her face.
Be in it to get that, but don't pump me, angel.
You've been touched by an angel, girl.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Eva. I must say that you're one of the most high energy people I know, so I'm excited to dive in. Let's get started. Do you want to share your story with the listeners and what got you into angel investing in the first place?
I actually started my career in consulting, quite boring. So I spent a few years at McKinsey in tech, really liked it, learned a lot. But honestly, from day one, I recognized that this is probably not going to be the place where I'm going to be forever. Because I learned that I'm a builder. I love building things. I want to see the outcome. I really love to, work with people building something. And then you should definitely not be at McKinsey. So I left the company after a few years to join back then very early stage Moss, a fintech from Berlin, which some of you might know. And I was very lucky because I was there one of the first ones responsible for the commercial areas, sales, partnerships, customer success, internationalization, and more. And I remember back then it was really crazy. We were like pre-seed seed, literally like a few people in a room building the product. We were every Friday still celebrating our customers. So today this is very different as we're now a Series B. But I was very lucky to build the company together with the founders from pre-seed to Series B. And at some point I decided to leave because I wanted to build something new. Started Climatos together with a very good friend of mine just a few months ago. Maybe just to say quickly, Climatos is basically building an energy provider, solar energy provider for urban tenants and apartment owners. So we are selling high quality mini solar panel kits, batteries. We have a Climatos energy management app and more. And long term, we aim to be the partner of choice for every European citizen out there on their renewables journey. And so currently I'm a full-time founder, I always say, and on the side angel investor. And I started angel investing about 3 years ago. In the beginning, I did my own tickets. I'm happy to also explain a little bit more in depth how I did that, and then joined the Sequoia Scout program a few months ago. And really love doing it.
That's cool. Do you remember your first foray there? What got you there? Was it completely organic? Did you wake up one day and be like, oh, my friends are angel investing, that's cool? Was it just 2021 or 20 and that was the thing to do?
No, not at all. I reflected on that also recently, how I became actually an angel. And to be honest, in the beginning, the topic was quite far away from me a few years ago, because I think I had this typical stereotype thinking on angel investing. So I thought I had to be a founder to be an angel investor, firstly. Secondly, I thought that I need to have a lot of money to actually do it. And honestly, I also just didn't know that many other angels, also saying role models that I could look up to, and thought I can also be an angel investor. But then at some point, I remember when I was at Moss, I kind of had more and more advisory call with startups and helped them along their journey. And when I then kind of was close already to the startups, and the pivotal moment for me was I saw or read an article where it said that only 11% of angel investors in Europe are female. I honestly thought, oh my God, I need to change this. Because this is just unacceptable for me. And Anthony, you know me exactly. I'm really an activist, so I want to change things. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to be an angel investor. And I remember that I literally told my boyfriend back then, I was like, okay, I'm going to be an angel investor. And 6 weeks afterwards, I already did my first investment. It's a quite funny story. Also happy to share it, how that happened. And I started with doing very small tickets. So I started with doing 5K angel tickets. Now I'm doing a little bit bigger ones, but I started with literally my savings. So I looked into my bank accounts accounts. And I was, okay, this is the money that I have on my bank account that I've saved. How much of this money am I willing to never see again? And this is how I started my first angel investments, became an angel investor. And yeah, today, here we are, now in the Sequoia's Gold program, and the rest is history.
And we're gonna dive in deeper into kind of your strategy and the portfolio and all of that with Tom in a second. Just before that, maybe if you wanted to talk about a memorable deal, a memorable or two that you would like to share with the listeners.
So my first deal was definitely one of the most memorable ones. It was special in that way that I had no clue, but I wanted to pretend that I know a lot because I was afraid that the founder is going to find out and that's my first investment. So it was a lot of fun because I committed due to that also super, super early. So funnily, I was actually the first angel to commit because I thought, I really want to be on this deal. So I'm just committing now. And the founder, I think, was also overwhelmed. So it was like, Eva, that's really cool that you're on board. So yeah, that's definitely was very memorable to me because, as I said, I didn't want to show off as inexperienced. So yeah, I kind of like backed that off, but it worked quite well. And yeah, I'm still very happy with this company and very happy that I'm an angel in there. So this was definitely my most memorable deal.
I love that kind of, you recapping going from big company to scale up company, now obviously founding your own business. And sounds like on that journey, you've got so much out of those different moves. What would you say from angel investing? What has angel investing specifically given you? You mentioned there about, leading the charge on more like diversity around cap tables. I'd love to dig into what you've got kind of more personally out of, I guess, angel investing as you start on that journey.
On the professional side, I would say that I'm learning really every day to become a better investor. And believe me, I'm still at the very beginning, also in comparison to the two of you. I'm learning every day, but it's my goal that I really want to become a great investor. And professionally, it has given me this opportunity to learn from people like you every day on how you look onto deals, what your views, your insights. So this is professionally what I'm enjoying a lot. And personally, it really feeds my curiosity. So I would say that definitely curiosity is something that, describes me best. And it feels great to give something back. I love working with the founders super early on, share with them some of my insights from Moss, also from my founder journey, to make them intros to other angels, VCs and more. And honestly, I also just really love seeing other people succeed. So that's also why I'm always running around. And I always say I'm the biggest cheerleader for my portfolio companies. So when I'm somewhere and I see kind of a synergy or something that I can help my portfolio companies with, I do it. I'm their biggest cheerleaders. I help them also if it's not going well. And this is what gives me professionally and personally a lot.
Perfect. That makes a ton of sense. And I can see everyone who I'm sure you're investing in getting a massive amount of value out of that from the founder side.
Oh no, it's not about the thesis.
That was the sound of the investment thesis segment. So we're going to move into talking about your investment thesis, the strategy, the approach that you have to investing. I'd love to just, I think we've touched upon it a little bit and heard from, some of your early investments and some of the stories there, but I'd love to just kind of take a step back and expand a little bit on, where you are today in terms of the number of investments you've made, maybe pick out a couple of portfolio companies, what countries you've even invested in. So just so the listeners can have a bit of an overview of where you are in your angel investing journey so far, Eva.
So currently I've done a little bit more than 10 investments, and currently they're all over Europe. But I plan to do another 5 to 6 investments in this year. So anyone out there, ping me. So just to share a few deals that I've done last year, I've invested, for example, in Cardino in December, a really great company in the electric vehicle market, Rionic together with Point9, Deploy. big shout out there, by the way, to the team from Deploy, because they've just raised 2 weeks ago an amazing round from Atomico. So you're doing a great job out there. So these are some of the deals that I've done last year. Overall, I invest mostly pre-seed and seed in fintech, sustainability, B2B SaaS, and honestly, in everything where I believe I'm a good angel for and I can be helpful. So this is also something on, let's say, like investment thesis or strategy. I really only invest in companies where I can bring value, because otherwise I tell the founders, I'm just not a good angel for you. I know other angels who are great for you, who will bring you more value on the cap table than I do. And but overall, I would say I'm still at the beginning of investing, so just a few years in, and many more to come.
And many co-investments to come, you mean? This is very self-serving of me, but I would love that. So, you're just about to, like you said, increase the amounts of investments you're making, right? And I think something that speaks a lot to some of the other angel investors we've talked with, and is a question that I always have is, how do you think about that kind of dilemma between kind of portfolio diversification versus kind of like having capacity to support the founders, right? Like you're a founder by day or full time, and you're an angel part-time or by night. And so how do you think about that trade-off, if at all?
That's a tricky one, Anthony. I don't try to think about that too much, to be honest, because honestly, you're totally right. I mean, my 100% job, I already say, is already of being a founder, 150, and then I'm mostly doing angel stuff on the weekend. I think I don't think about it too much. I just do it very naturally, as I told you, right? I'm already supporting my portfolio companies on the go with stuff that I see or interests that I do very naturally. So it's not like I have to think on the weekend, oh, now I'm spending 1 hour on this company or 1 hour on this company. So it's something that I really love doing, and that's why I do it naturally. And I am still in this position that I've only done a little bit more than 10 investments. It's not like I have 80 and could basically only do portfolio work the whole day. So how I think about it is that I invest in companies where I believe in, where I really love working with the founders. And I will see probably also in the next years then, if it takes too much time, if I reduce the number of investments I do, or find maybe, I don't know, someone supporting me or something like that. But long story short, currently I don't try to think too much about it. I do it naturally and I really love it.
Yeah, and I would argue, by the way, that, it's so much more the kind of value proposition you offer and the value you can bring than the quantity, right? It's the quality. And so, by being a founder, having had the whole journey of almost like a founder from day zero at Moss, and what you're doing now with Climatos, whether it's a fintech company, a climate company, or any company, there's so many horizontal things you can bring, right? I mean, there's a lot of investors that have never been operators and founders, and they might have many hours a day to support, and they will, I'm sure, with many things, but then maybe you bring something very complementary to the table, right? Which I think that's what matters mainly.
Yeah, and maybe adding to that, I always tell my founders, hey, I know how you feel. I'm a founder. I know it's very bumpy. So you can be very honest with me. You can rather be honest with me than I can help you. You don't have to tell me everything is great. Rather tell me what's not working, and then I know that this is normal and I'm going to help you. So you're totally right. I know both sides, and I'm trying to empathize a lot with them and telling them that they can be honest with me, and I know their position as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful kind of approach to have, and to be able to build that bond really, really quickly. When, I guess, looking a bit more kind of when you're making that evaluation on which founders to potentially partner with, are there, specific or one element that you must see, or is there anything which also for you is a bit of a flag when you're evaluating companies at the kind of team stage?
Something I look for is drive and coachability. For me, a founder really needs to show me that she or he wants to achieve this, and this is their number one goal, and whatever it takes, they're gonna get there. And then I want to see that they are coachable, right? So when I tell them, hey, think about this, that they are coachable and try to take the feedback seriously. So this is something that I'm really looking into. And maybe if I'm talking about that, I would say that also humbleness is something that I look for a lot, because I know that it's very important to be humble in a founder life, because you get a lot of shit as well. So you need to be humble on that side. What is a flag for me? Maybe then also on the other side is definitely if someone is arrogant, if someone is not treating people well, if I do a reference call and then someone is saying me, I don't know, this person is treating interns badly. Sorry, that's for me like a red flag, because as I said, you need to be humble. You need to like really think that this is one team, and your intern is adding a lot of value also early on in the startup. So if someone is arrogant or not down to earth, then this is definitely a red flag for me.
No, it makes a ton of sense, and couldn't agree more. I think it's sometimes, from my own experience, sometimes it's hard to get that kind of data point every single time from those early conversations. So as you said, if you can speak to people they've worked with, if you can try and like reference or even, find someone from your network that knows them well, then you can start to get those kind of data points. Because couldn't agree more. This is such a long journey, the journey they're going to go on, that obviously exceptionally well, having been on that scale up and having been on now your own kind of founder journey, that you need to be humble. You need to be able to kind of like, ride with the punches, as they say, because it's not all going to be up and to the right.
Maybe, and I know you touched on that a bit on the previous section, but like some passion areas, I mean, maybe even going more detailed into things that you recently have seen or things that you're particularly passionate about these days that you'd want to kind of discuss a bit more about?
The first one is definitely anything around climate tech, energy, heat. I mean, it's just crazy what is going on out there. If we are thinking about what will climate change lead to and how we can also fight against this, and looking into the numbers and the predictions, we now still have the opportunity to fight against it. This was definitely also one of the reasons why I founded an energy company, even though I was not in the space before really, but I was like, I really want to do something against it, because if I don't, I'm going to wake up one day and think like, Eva, why did you do nothing? Like, what happened? So this is something, firstly, I'm looking a lot into, and also, as I said, already invested in a few companies in that way. Secondly, I'm in big love with fintech. I think, Anthony, you can relate to that. I really love fintech. Probably it's also because I spent a few years in a fintech company, and it's just so amazing how complex it is, how many things you can do. And to any founder out there, fintech is still super hot. Yeah, if anybody tells you it's not, so there are so many things that are still to be solved, and what we will see in the future. And thirdly, I still believe into B2B SaaS a lot, because especially in the SMB sector, I have actually some friends also here in Germany now working in SMBs companies. And if you look deeper into it, how unorganized, how undigitized it is, I still believe that B2B SaaS, there is still a lot more to come. And I find it still very interesting as well.
Amazing. No, I couldn't agree more. Definitely lots of crossover with, I think, how we're investing at Seedcamp, and I know how obviously Anthony's investing as well. So I'm sure many opportunities to continue to co-invest in the future. On that kind of theme, it would be great to just learn a little bit about how you think about collaborating with VCs, also, the angel community that you've built up and the network that you've started to really lean on. It would be great to kind of, for the listeners or people who are curious about getting into angel investing, how you've gone about building those networks.
There are definitely different views on that. So I know some angels who work very independent. There are angels who work very close to VCs. So I strongly believe everybody needs to find her or his own, approach to this. For me, I really enjoy working with VCs, with micro VCs, big VCs, angels, etc., because I strongly believe in the power of collaboration. I like sharing deals, exchanging knowledge, exchanging thoughts. So I often invest along VCs, and I like this because I always see this as I said, as a synergy. So we see a bunch of money, me rather bringing like smaller money, but smart money. And I just believe in the synergy between the two of them. But I would say I'm not an angel who's just jumping on the train because a top tier VC invests. Yeah, just sharing that. I think this is also something that we see from time to time. No, I'm talking to the founders. I want to understand what they do. As I said, I want to understand, can I bring value on the table? And honestly, I've passed deals from top VCs, even though it could have been an easy way to get in, because I'm always listening to my gut feeling. And if my gut feeling tells me this is not the team where I can bring the most value, then I just don't do it, no matter which VC is investing.
To build on that, also from a microfund perspective, if I may to bring that perspective, is it's a hard thing sometimes, but you got to develop your own conviction, right? It's hard to say XYZ top tier fund is going to invest in that, but I'm not sure I want to. And sometimes it just doesn't play into your model, right? Maybe they have a higher kind of, binary risk perspective. A good example is like social networks. I don't know if I will ever invest in social net. I mean, me specifically, I invest in fintech, but on average, social networks, you see kind of some sort of crowding effect for the best of talent for something which is a flip of a coin on average, right? And a lot of the multi-stage funds or either other funds that have been very active in the space, and rightly so, might want to put bets there. But I think the type of risk is very different. It's just wanted to kind of like express some of the dilemmas we've had also in the past with Cocoa as well, on how to think about this and how important it is to work very closely with those funds, factor in the fact that a fund that you work with and you respect is investing in that company, because it does influence success in some respects, but it is a factor, a parameter to the conviction building, right? And in the end, you're kind of optimizing for your own model, your own angel investing approach and the likes. Anyways, let's go into the next section.
You out here learning more about them angels, are you?
So if you heard that sound, we've just got into the core learning segment. Let's dive in. So if you had to share 3 core learnings, Eva, from your time angel investing, of course, what would those be?
The first learning is definitely that the team, the drive, the attitude, the humbleness, as I said, the performance level is the most critical factor for the startup's success. I've learned it in the past. Honestly, when I invested in a team where I was not 100% sure, also I can see now that the company is actually not performing that well. And why is that? I strongly believe that great people are gonna do great things. So also when they see that their business is not working, they're gonna pivot, they're gonna iterate, because the people are great, so they don't wanna spend time on something that doesn't add value. So this is something that I see in my portfolio, that I see also in other companies. And this is why now I believe even more than I did in the beginning. When I talk to pre-seed founders, I look a lot into their drive, also how they approach problems, how reflective they are on how they work, on their team, on their company. This is something I really look into. I mean, this is probably like what I've heard also from other angels a lot, but the more I'm now into the game since a few years, I believe in this more and more. And this is also why, maybe also a tip for someone outside in angel investing or starting to angel invest, I'm now even sometimes following people early on, supporting them early on, even if they don't have an idea yet or are still in ideation, that I already support them, because I just believe that this team, this great person is gonna do something great afterwards. This is my first learning. My second one is a hard one. Decided also to share a hard one. That honestly, angel investing or the investment is very illiquid. If you have a return, the if is important to stress out here. It will mostly come after 5 to 10 years. And this is something that I have underestimated, just sharing very honestly here in the beginning, because I started angel investing in this super hype time, right? So 2021, you even as an angel could maybe already say at the Series A, oh, I want to now sell my shares. These times have changed for real. Now it takes much more time raising a Series A, raising a Series B, and also the valuations have changed. So now it's also not the time anymore where you as an angel super quickly after 1.5 years already basically jump ship and take your first share sale and end it. So this is something that I also often tell people who ask me, hey, should I become an angel investor? I have this amount of money, what should I do with it? Then I tell them it's very illiquid. You need to be okay with that it's locked for a few years and also might never come back. I mean, you need to do at least as an angel, definitely 15 to 20 investments that you make money with that and not just end up with a zero. So this is also a big learning that I had. And the third big learning, I already touched on that quickly, is really trust your gut feeling in angel investing, because it's usually quite right. So in the beginning, I looked much more into macroeconomic views, the idea, can it be big, how much big is the market and stuff like that. Yes, this is important, but in the end of the day, honestly, when I'm in a call with a founder, and yes, then the idea has to be also a fit for sure, but when I have a good gut feeling or even a really, really, really good gut feeling, then usually the performance is also very well. And yeah, honestly, the companies where I didn't have a good gut feeling, I'm also now a little bit more worried about. So also as a tip for everyone out there, I have the feeling that usually gut feeling is something that can be really listened to.
Just to kind of follow up on the team one, which I think is 100% aligned with often how I think in early stage investing. It's so important in those ideas of like drive, kind of attitude, like performance level. When you're meeting founders, how do you test for that? Are the questions you ask, are the things that you have learned over those 10 or so investments where you can now more confidently go in and have a way of getting that information back, which gives you the idea that you're going to move forward?
So 2 things I do here. Firstly, I really try to get to know the founders in a more personal way, and also try to understand what they've done before and what they've learned from that. So I also ask them, hey, was there a big fuck up maybe in your previous job, and how did you deal with it? Or also when they're a little bit more advanced, already see it, I ask them, hey, what were your biggest challenges that you had in the last 12 to 18 months, and how did you deal with that? Because I really try to understand how do they deal with pressure, how do they deal with stress, are they adaptable, and things like this. So I really try to rather focus on what has not worked well and how did you deal with it, because this is super, super important. And on that one, I also really try to look into their personality and understand how, as I said, how humble they are and also how they treat the team. I would say definitely looking into the fuck-ups, and I love asking the founders at the end of the call, hey, okay, now we've talked about your idea, now we've talked about your vision, but what do you believe are gonna be the biggest challenges in the next 12 months? And then you can see who is honest enough at telling you what's really difficult, and who is also reflective enough and saying, look, okay, this is really, really difficult, but I believe I can solve it like that. I really like when people are honest, or when founders are honest on that and tell me what's going on, versus just saying super high level, super fluffy, I don't know, there is obviously competition. Yeah, obviously there's competition, but we need to understand that they know their problems, that they know their challenges and know how to tackle this. So basically know their challenges as well. So this is firstly something that I do a lot, and secondly, I'm a big fan of reference calls. just because I believe it's important to understand also from maybe an outsider or someone else's perspective on how has this person behaved in their previous company, overall, what maybe has I also like to talk to interns a lot because it's just interesting sometimes to hear from like people who are not there for longer, understand how did it work. So overall, I just like reference call as a second point of view.
I really like what you said about what are your biggest challenges. I think that what I've found is with that, you can very quickly reveal whether there's, they can remove their facade. Like, are we really having, yeah, we had the great pitch, we had the great questions and answers. Let's go like a layer deeper now, right? And the more manufactured the answer, the more they're either like not the type of a character you want to bet, or maybe for some reason they still have that facade. And so I really try to kind of break that facade, to go a bit deeper, to go into kind of, this journey is going to be full of challenges. So let's really talk about like how we go through that. So that really resonated in some ways. Anyways, just want to pitch in with that.
Great. So Eva, we love to end each of these episodes with a bit of a kind of quick fire round. Quick answer questions, around 30 to 60 seconds each. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
First question coming up. What is the most counterintuitive thing you've learned since you've started angel investing?
Honest truth, that the information transparency is usually quite low between angels. Everybody says that all angels are talking to each other, but no. And honestly, from a founder perspective, I think this is great because sometimes it's also good if you don't know all the challenges and people don't interchange between or exchange with each other too much. So I believe, as I said, that the transparency is not that high, and that's good for the founders.
What would be your top tips to angels wanting to do more international investing?
Firstly, build connections with international investors and really reach out proactively to international teams. You can do this, for example, via LinkedIn or something like that. Don't be shy, just really try it. Secondly, really define your unique value proposition for this founder or for this team. So for example, if you're an investor from Europe and you want to invest into a team from the US, you can say, look, I have a really great network here in Europe, so I can help you for expansion or something like that. Thirdly, preach what you want to do 1,000 times. So tell everyone you want to do international investments and the actions will follow.
Excellent. And the last one, which is always one of my favorites, what advice would you give your 10-year younger self if you only had 30 to 60 seconds?
So many learnings, Tom. So definitely don't overthink, trust your gut feeling. And I would also tell myself that you can be really bold and just try it. Because even if you go into the direction where you're not that happy with in the end, you're still learning what you don't like. So I would say really, be bold, try everything, because you can only win.
Love it. Love it.
Operator turned founder by day and angel by night, no? Quite a great mix, I must say. Thanks for joining us, Eva. It was super cool to have you on today, and thanks for sharing some of your insights with us.
Yes, thank you. And thanks a lot again for the invitation. It was great to share some thoughts with you here, and it had really a great time.
Thanks so much, Eva.
Is this a dream?
No, it's not a dream. I'm an angel.
Why would God send me an angel?
Because God knows that everyone needs a little coaching now and then.
I'm loving angels.
I saw an angel. All angels say from above.
You sent me an angel. The smile on her face.
Be in it together, but don't call me angel.
Been touched by an angel, girl.